So it's been about 3 years since I've been using my iPhone 12, and I've actually been using it without a case basically the whole entire time. I don't even think if I've ever put a case on this specific device. There may have been a time maybe I tried it or something, but for the most part, I actually have not put a case on this specific device the whole time, which is pretty crazy. Now, I would say it's in overall pretty good condition. Of course, there's going to be some scratches and some nicks here and there, but for the most part, I think it's held up fairly well as far as I can tell. Now, zooming in, if we go and start off with the back, you can kind of see that the camera modules and everything still look pretty good. There's not been any cracks. I haven't used this as my main device, but I've used it pretty close as a side device for maybe like a year and a half, and then on and off for basically like the other year. But you can see, I mean, for the most part, it looks fairly good. There are clearly some things that are going to kind of throw me off, like the fingerprints and whatnot. But I think for the most part, Apple did a good job at the design of this phone, and I still think it looks very, very good. On the bottom, you can see not like really any marks or scuffs or anything like that. I think it looks very good from that perspective. On the sides, you can also see that with the flat side, it looks pretty good here too. Not too much going on these sides. On the bottom, you can also see that it looks pretty good. Not too much to complain about there. On the top, it looks pretty good. And on the sides, I mean, the sides of this phone, basically the sides of most phones that I own, they look very, very nice. And they actually don't scratch up as badly as you may think. Even on these corners, they look pretty good. Actually, there's like maybe a little mark right here that I was kind of covering up right there. It's very hard to tell. But then that takes us to the main display. Let me go and wipe down it one more time. And I will definitely tell you, as far as I can tell, the display on this thing is definitely not perfect, but it does look pretty good. Now, if I move it to the corner right here, you might be able to start to see some scratches. So the very, very top, if I go and kind of click it into place right here, you can kind of see that there's some small little tiny scratches along the side, at least on the front of this phone right there. So there's one little one right there. If we go and kind of keep scrolling down, you can see that there's a little like tiny nicks and stuff, but nothing super insane, and they look pretty good. On the bottom, you can see as well, there's like, because this is where the bigger scratches kind of start to kind of come up. So you can see that there's like a little scratch right here. There's also some scratches towards the bottom right here on this specific side of the phone as well. But I don't really think it's that big of a deal, and I still think it looks pretty good and fairly good for the most part, which is really, really nice. And if I go and keep kind of scrolling through, you can kind of still tell, like, okay, for the most part, little tiny scratches, superficial stuff. There's like this one right here, which is not anything crazy, but again, it's a little tiny one. And otherwise, though, it looks pretty good. Even this little tiny one on the side right here looks pretty good, but again, it's like a little tiny scratch. But otherwise, I think the iPhone 12 that I have here is still in fairly good condition. I think it looks pretty good. Again, it's not perfect, but I think if I had to still use it, it'd still be totally usable. There's a few tiny little scratches, nothing crazy. I think it looks pretty good for the most part. So in terms of that, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.